What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Game Blaze, and today we've got episode 6 and 7, I believe, of Ninja Gaiden Sigma. Yeah, listen, this went on a lot longer than I expected, and man. Let's just jump into it, man. There's a lot to cover today. I'll be here for it. Let's do it. Let's go. Chapter 6, The City of Fiends. The Fiendin'. Tehran is full of mysteries, strange creatures called fiends, and Rachel the Fiend Hunter. However, Ryu has no clues about the whereabouts of Doku. Well, let's figure it out. We just got done talking to Gamov, who's like this quasi-Russian spy or whatever that kind of shows up. Clearly a bad guy, but you know, he's got his own interesting history and stuff. If you wish to follow Doku, first investigate the monastery. It's located in the Dwarku district, across from the whatever. Okay, let's go. Nobody cares. Well, somebody cares. Let's save the game. Yeah, we just got done playing Rachel the Fiend Hunter, which is always an interesting little thing about Ninja Gaiden Sigma, where they had these two storylines running concurrent to each other, and you kind of went back and forward like they would. It was interesting the way they used it here, because Rachel would essentially, you'd have to play her to then use one of her powers to open a door that Ryu would then come in after her and go through, or something of this nature, or it would happen the opposite way. So let me deal with these BS ninjas real quick. I'm gonna let you guys know straight off. I recorded this audio afterwards because it was about this time in my playing through of Ninja Gaiden. I've already gotten a few episodes ahead of this where, man, it got rough. I'm not gonna lie, it got rough. Whatever you think rough is, that's what it is. And hey, Elixir of Life, there we go. What I ended up having to do was use the game guide, and my wonderful wife was extremely helpful in this, and you know, big shout out to her, because she put up with me like, yo, and game guides are not always real direct. I've wanted to play through Ninja Gaiden Sigma all the way for a while. I never had a chance when I was younger to get all the way through, I don't think. I remember pieces of it, but I certainly don't remember it all. So I'm just gonna go with I didn't finish it, which is what happens with a lot of games, especially back in the day. Like I always say, I loved the games were hard back then, for sure. And I like the idea of having difficulty levels with different achievements and stuff like this. But it really bothered me that like you would essentially pay for content in the past that you could never finish just because it was genuinely too hard, or you just didn't have enough time to dedicate to the game to be good enough to see it through. So there were a lot of Ninja Gaiden games that I started and didn't finish until much later on in life. I think I beat Ninja Gaiden 1 or 2 in like 2015 for the first time. Now I remember this because I was thinking about starting a channel back then, and I was like, let me just see if I could even do this. Though Ninja Gaiden 1 and 2 are some of the hardest games you'll ever play. Ever. Oh, these guys on bikes again, dude. Shit's crazy. All right, well, let me fight these guys. I'm gonna get back to you in a minute. A few hours later. What's up, y'all? Yeah, as I was talking about content, so I needed to run down this alley right here, and it took me a second to find it. I brought a legendary weapon to Tehran. A weapon known only to a select few who've hidden it in a dark alley. The location is where only a ninja will be able to reach it. I suggest that you find it and make use of it. Awesome. Totally going to do that. So it took me forever just to even figure out how to get down here, because you have to essentially wall run the whole way down after you pick up this golden scarab. I think one of the things that stresses me out about this game, at least, not this level, but the level that comes after this, is that there's a lot of doubling back in this game. You know, so like Ryu, like he's fighting to get into the city, right? And then he fights to get out of the city, only to end up back in the city right where he left, right? So there's a lot of doubling back, and even for me, trying to figure out where to go, even with a game guide, man, it takes time. It really does. It's a bit of a struggle, like I'm running around right now, just trying to figure out where to go. But I promise you, my editing has improved a lot of this. So we're gonna run up here. We're gonna grab this. There we go. This amazing weapon up here. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I use the dragon sword through like 90% of this game. I really do. I just prefer the dragon sword. It's simple. You don't have to like learn new You don't have to learn new techniques or anything like that. It's very straightforward. Yeah, I appreciate that. I prefer that at the very least. Like, let me learn one thing and let me just call that straight up. There we go. Oh, the windmill shuriken. Yeah. I actually use this quite a bit, so I'm glad that we finally got it. Oh, you've seen the symbol before? Your body feels charged with energy. It's the Team Ninja symbol. This was really cool. I love the fact that they put these up. There's a couple of Team Ninja signs throughout the game that you have to find if you want to get all like the challenge points or whatever they are. So anyway, let's get off of this rooftop. And honestly, like, I cannot tell you enough, game guide or not, you know, once you save your game, make sure you be using the map. The map is going to be helpful so much, you have no idea. And what I really tried to do is just separate this out so that for other people like me that are or even are not using the game guide, sometimes you really just need a visual aid. And so if you're trying to get through this game and you need that visual aid, yo, it is right here for you. You know what I mean? I really wanted to do that. I needed it myself, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes these things are just hard to come by, you know, unless you've played through this game 3,000 times, which I can't imagine that you have, otherwise, like, what are you up to? So, yeah, we're gonna wipe these ninjas out real quick, and, yeah, we got stuff to do. Oh, let's check the shop out. Gotta check out the shop. You know how it is. Alright, so this boss battle that's coming up right now, I have played through this a few times, and you know, because you don't always win the first time through, and it's not my first time through the game, but I'm going to tell you right now, this seems really hard. Later on in the game, you will end up running these bosses again as mini-bosses. So if you think they're rough, and this is how Ninja Gaiden likes to play it, if you think they're rough now, trip, because I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna be fighting them again, and they're just gonna be mini bosses the next time through. But that's how, you know, it increases your skill as you move on, or whatever else. So it's these red dinosaur dragon looking things after the motorcycle guys here. Yeah, they end up being just nothing but mini bosses later on. And I make great use of this Nimpo magic right here, because it's simple, but it really does just absolutely devastate, because it keeps giving constant small hits, especially later on in the game when sometimes you just want to tank an enemy. One of the best ways to do it is get up on it and then constantly be using that. Now here they come. Yeah, red dinosaur. Listen, if you are ever attacked by a red dinosaur and all you have is a sword, that is your cue to bug out. Like, you don't need to be there for that. I'm gonna promise you now. But anyway, so we're gonna fight these things here, and then Rachel McJiggletitties is gonna show up again, and interestingly enough, she's gonna get attacked by this weird gulper-looking octopus thing that lives outside of water. And then we're gonna kill it and cut her out, and it's like this really bizarre excuse just to make her like slimy and shit. I'm like, dude, listen, the devs on this game are just like, yo, how much can we insinuate X-rated material without actually doing it? And they did a great job, because like reusing this like skin tight leather jumpsuit thing, and Rachel McJiggletitties is in, like, you know, her leather bikini or whatever, running around with an axe and high heels. Oh, dude, it's phenomenal. Anyway, this is why. Listen, if you played all the way through this game when you were young and you didn't end up playing adult games as an adult, you've lied to yourself, or you're just in a very hateful marriage where you're like not allowed to play certain things. It's crazy. Trust me, it's just, if you've not seen, just continue watching. You'll get the joke. Anyway, I'll be right back.
exactly are you? You're much more powerful than just a human.
My strength comes from training, not from some curse in my blood.
Are you so sure of that? I was convinced once that my blood was pure, but then I saw what my pure blood was capable of. I watched as my twin sister was cursed and twisted into a greater fiend. Now I know the path I walk is narrow.
Doku.
He led her down the path of evil, and she succumbed. Fiends are pitiful beings, destined to live forever, slaves to the forces of evil. And there's only one way to release them.
To kill them.
That's why I became a hunter. To kill my sister. To kill Alma. Beneath this monastery, there is...
Alright, now this is another boss that ends up becoming a mini-boss later. So rather than just getting through it, you really might want to concentrate just a little bit on your technique, because you're going to have to use it again later on. Now again, just being able to run and do a little slashy thing and then dipping out real quick is good enough, because all you want to do is get those tentacles off the side, and then you can essentially tank its body without it having any defenses until it regrows them. So again, I didn't know what I was doing at first here. I'm just saying, from somebody who's played through this already and beaten this enemy multiple times at this point, it's a lot easier than I thought it was. I could probably tank this thing right now and not take a single hit. But again, you know, at this time that I was running through it, I could not have done that, just because I wasn't thinking in that way yet. I mean, honestly, a good Ninja Gaiden game is kind of like this. Basically, every level was a tutorial for levels coming up. And now it's just nothing but Azusa drops until I can knock its life down far enough. And you got to keep pushing forward on the D-pad while you do this. And then it's going to regrow. We've got it about halfway down, so we're just going to knock these things out again. Samey same, you know what I mean? And we're going to cut, you know, what do you call it? Rachel McJiggle physics out of the inside of this thing. So we can, you know, get her all slimy. And then our like, I don't know who she is, like our side piece or whatever, girl, the ninja chick or whatever, she's going to roll in. I don't know why she isn't more helpful. I don't remember a whole lot about that. But she just seems to show it like no problems. It's not like she's out, you know, fighting things like you are. She just pops off of rooftops from time to time and reminds Ryu that he's really a ninja and he shouldn't give up the way of the ninja. There we go. Now we can just do Azusa drops until this thing is done. Hopefully I didn't fuck that up. They might make me do it one more time through, but either way. Yep. One more. Now if you get too far away, it does throw those little green glob things, but no matter, because usually you can just rip through this thing pretty quick and it never gets that chance. I think each one of them takes 2 or 3 to pop it off. Yeah, and then the problem is it spins, so you kind of have to get around to the other side.
Was that a fiend as well?
I've never seen one like that before. Something strange. So many of them.
Ayane. Running errands for Mirai again, I see.
The boldness of the fiends is the work of the Dark Dragon. It is a cursed blade, bestowing an unfathomable strength on those wicked enough to wield it. As we speak, its power is growing.
That would explain the stirring in my blood.
Blood. It dominates all humankind, assisted by the power of the fiends.
Ayane, Take care of Rachel.
Understood.
Ryu, I've heard there's a hidden path under the monastery that leads to the Emperor's palace. Doku will also be there.
Gamoth. So the Dark Dragon grows in power with each killing.
Of that there is no doubt, My Excellency.
Then I have arrived just in time.
Yes, My Excellency. As always, I provide you with only the most reliable information.
The blade grows stronger and faster than I had expected.
Chapter 7, The Monastery. It is said that there is a secret path leading to the Palace of Zarkon underneath the Dwarka Monastery. Dwarku. Yeah, let's go. And make sure we save it. Every time you pick something up, just make sure you save it. It's all good. Is it just me, or does this, like, the Life of the Gods, the regular one, it just drives me nuts because I think you have to get like 12 of them before any of them matter. Yeah, here you go. 4, 5, 10. You have to get 10 of them. Man, that is just incredible. Look, give me the Life of the Thousand Gods, or don't give me any of them. Like, collecting 10 of these things just to get that little bit of life meter, I kind of don't care. I mean, I kind of care. I guess it's helpful later on, but like, not even that much. Like, if you try to compare the amount that it matters versus how much it took to make sure you got all of them, I don't know, man. I'm probably not here for that. So anyway, those helicopters, man, those helicopters become real pains in the ass later. I can tell you right now. Not now, but later on. As they say, not right now, but later on now. If that makes any sense. Now, I thought it was kind of cool that they brought us into this monastery like this to begin with, because in the last episode, we were literally here with Rachel. You know what I mean? So she already been through a lot of this stuff, and we got a chance to see it, which is how we ended off last episode. You know what I'm saying? In this exact same place. So it's just kind of cool the way they, at least to me, the way they run these two lines concurrent with each other. But then you as the player get to kind of go back and see each one of their perspectives. Now, if it were up to me, I would prefer watching, you know, Rachel McJiggle Physics run in front of me rather than Ryu. Not that I don't like Ryu as a protagonist. I think he's a fantastic protagonist. It's just, I like chicks. I don't know what to say about that. You know what I mean? I'd always prefer that in front of me. You know what I mean? Nobody goes to strip clubs to see dudes. Go to strip clubs to see chicks. Come on now. Anyway. There we go. Another golden scarab. I'm aware people, by the way, I'm aware people go to strip clubs to see dudes. Just, you know, not me personally. That's all. But if there was a strip club for dudes, Ryu should definitely be working there. That's all. He's in far better shape than I am. All right, so we just got another tablet. That's really important because I believe you need 3 of them. I think you need 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I'm going to let you know right now, I almost ended the video right about here because once we jump into the underground, it's like another 35 minutes or something under there. And I did go back and clip a lot of my little mistakes or when I got lost or whatever, I cut those out. And again, this is more to serve as an addendum to a game guide than anything else. And just me personally, because I wanted to play through this game for the channel. You know, just like I said, just for me. But, you know, and if you're here enjoying it, yo, I'm happy that you're here. But I considered breaking it off right here just because we're 40 minutes in, and this is where it should end, but this was also not the end of the second, the second chapter in this episode. So I wanted to make sure I got all the way through that second chapter before I did anything, because the first chapter only took about 30 minutes to get through. Most of these chapters, by the way, are about a 30-minute playthrough if you don't get lost and you don't die a lot. So just to give you a little heads up on that. I'm going to save the game right now, and then we're going to take off because we've got a whole underground to explore that ends in us fighting a bone dragon that we're going to run into a few times before we actually fight him, as you might imagine. You know how it is. You know how Ninja Gaiden does. All right, now this is very Indiana Jones-esque, so it's very ominous because it's obvious what's about to happen here. Let's get moving after we break this thing.
A few minutes later.
All right, so finally we're getting ready to drop the goblet. We're going to be fighting the bone dragon here. This will definitely be the boss for this chapter. And as soon as we're done, we're out of here. So let's check this out. And that's it, y'all. We made it through another episode of Ninja Gaiden Sigma. We are on our way to being finished with this game. I think we're almost about halfway done, but we're going to get through it in the proceeding weeks. We're going to check this out. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm glad you're here with us here on Game Blaze. You guys are going to have to subscribe so I can see y'all next time. I'm going to check you then. Peace.
Thank you.